Peace and blessings, beautiful people. You're full of beauty. You're full of greatness. You're full of it, the great I am. You are it. That's why you're full of it. I'm in my spot, specially created for me. Let me see. Let me flip this. Let's flip it. That's what's in front of me. The plant ancestors and the ancestors. Listen to the birds. So I want to share, I want to share a download I received this morning during my meditation, but I want you to just take this in first. And then I'm going to flip the camera, just in case you were wondering. Let the plant ancestors talk to you. Let the birds send to you. And the reason why it's important to kind of get still and focus on your breath. So that's the invitation. Focus on your breath for a few seconds. Because what I'm going to share, you take it in through your logical mind, and it's just as important to listen with your heart. So yes, take a breath. Breath is life, and life is God. And God is expressing itself, himself, herself, as you. So the download was around this thing called love and ancestors. The connection between ancestors and love, and why it is important to allow love, to open up to love, and to let love guide you. If you are really curious, if you are interested in representing your ancestors, because you're always, by default, you're representing your ancestors. But when you represent them, it's a whole different level. So the download was around one of the pillars of my work, Redefining Love. The other three, there's four: Redefining Love, Life as a Spiritual Practice, Vision with Action, and the fourth one is Be Seen, Be Heard, Be You, Belong. I don't even know, when you're meditating and you tap in, you drop down beyond the logical mind, and you find that you're connected to the great I am. Well, you're always connected. But this is taking me somewhere, but I don't know if I want to go there yet. I'll say this, and it will make even more sense later. So when you meditate, when you get still, however it is, whether it's guided meditation, whether it's with music, no sound, focusing on your breath, what you're really allowing yourself to do is to drop down in consciousness and tap into the cloud of human existence, the cloud of the great I am. And from that place, you start to hear things, feel things, know things, get clarity. So I'll leave that one there. So the pillar that I want to talk about, where the download was around that, it's redefining love. sometimes we take love for granted. We place conditions on love. We are controlling about love, how we are loved, how we love. We put rules about love and say, well, I'm going to love, but I am not. And all of that, I'm not even saying it from a judgmental perspective, whether you get to decide if that's working for you or not. It's not about good or bad. Now, ancestors. Some people are new to this conversation. I hosted an event this past Thursday on the Reimagine platform. You can find out more about what they're up to. letsreimagine.org. And my work comes under the umbrella of representing our ancestors, representing our stories. The event that I hosted this past Thursday, one of the feedback made me think of something that I know. However, it helped me understand that some people are going to be drawn to this, not just because they want to connect and represent their ancestors. They need information as well about what is ancestor? What do you mean when you say ancestors? So the event was designed for people who already know what that is, but there was a feedback where the person wanted a little bit more about ancestors. What's funny about that is the feedback I got was pretty, it's like, yeah, very positive. And even from this same person, it was positive. But I found that I kept thinking of that statement. And for a minute, I'm going to tie it all into redefining love and how that connects you with your ancestral realm. I found that I kept thinking about that statement. And I even went into, oh, I should have done that. Oh, I did something wrong. I was just like, ugh. And I kept saying to myself, let it go. You got other positive statements from others and from this person. But it kept playing in my head. Sometimes when we keep thinking about something, because of a habitual way of being, we can judge what is happening and say, oh, I am focusing more on criticism. Because the statement wasn't a criticism at all. But I was started to think of it as a criticism. But once I was able to pull out, zoom out from it, like that, as opposed to, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't do that, and zoom out, I get to see more of what's been said. I get to hear more of what wants to be heard. So with that said, ancestors, for me, for me, ancestors are people who have walked this planet, who are responsible for me being here. The people who came together many years ago and up until my parents for me to be here. Now, I was part of an event a few months ago, and part of what they were doing, I was doing tech support. So I was observing what was happening in the room. It was virtual. And one of the leaders, facilitators said, well, ancestors could be somebody who is alive. I literally felt myself, okay, how far do I want to go in what I was really thinking? I just thought, that's all BS. I'll be transparent. And one of the thoughts I had was like, white people. Now you're going to water down this idea. Yes, I did that. And I forgive myself. And if you can't forgive me, so be it. Because I've forgiven myself. Like white people, now they're going to now say ancestors are people that are alive without understanding the concept. Anyway. But it is what it is. You get to choose. You get to see what you want to see, how you see it. Because there are ways that I teach that some people would disagree with. But you know what? in the ancestral realm, it all belongs. So, redefining love. What does that mean? It means letting go of the conditions that we place on love, understanding that love is much more than an emotion. True love is not about, well, I don't feel like loving today, so I'm not going to do it. I've heard people say, well, I understand this loving thing because I do work around racial equity and transformation. So I've heard people say around that, it's like, but this racism thing, sometimes you just got to put the love to the side. It's like if you try to deal with any kind of injustice, oppression, abuse, trauma without taking love with you, you're setting yourself up for a hard lesson. Don't leave on without it. So redefining love is recognizing that love itself opens you up to so much more than you know, so much more than what you've experienced, and gives you access to solutions, to new thoughts, new ideas, to deal with the BS in the world. So when you tap into love, when you not even tap into love, you're already in it, but we can go with that. When you consciously tap into love, when you remember that you're in love, it gives you, it empowers you to transform their BS, their bullshit, into being the shift. Just chew on that for a minute. I need to. Love calls you higher. Love is oneness. So ancestors, there are people who came before us. They represent God consciousness. They represent in human form the divine, the great I am, just as you do. However, there is an aspect of them that is so much more than their human form. There's so much more to you than just being human. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. And that's not the only experience you're having right now. You're having several experiences on many levels. It's quite obvious when we dream. Like there are things that happen in a dream that when you wake up you say, it's kind of crazy, but you know how dreams are? Because that's a different experience. The logical mind is sleeping. It's meditating. And your unconscious mind is wide awake. So, redefining love reconnects you, taps you into the ancestral realms. Ancestral realm. Your ancestors represent that realm. I'm going to slow this down. With a logical mind, we tend to think of ancestors just as the people that lived. Sometimes we think of them as being in the past. But they're right here with you. They're living as you. They're living through you. It's also important to go into your unconscious state of consciousness and recognize that those who came before you, those who passed life on to you, are representing the great I am. They're representing God through their own experience, through their own thoughts, through their own journey. Now, think about it. Think about the people that came before you. Those of you who watch my podcast or have heard me in a workshop, you've seen me share what I would call an ancestral map. It puts numbers to people who came before us. So for you to be alive today, your parents came together. Whether you know them, whether you know them or not, whether they were in your life or not, whether you can't stand them, it really doesn't matter. What matters is those two people came together and birthed you. They birthed you, your mother birthed you, the father joined in the birthing process. And their DNA, his DNA, her DNA came together to give life, to give form to another life called you. Then there are your grandparents. They came together and birthed your parents. They passed life on to your parents, and your parents passed the life on to you. Then there are your great grandparents, and great grandparents, great. They all came together, and all of them became one as you. Think about that for a minute. So, the ancestral map that I share shows like 2, your parents, those who came before you, your grandparents, 4. Then you have your great grandparents, 16. So if you keep multiplying that number, or adding, it's not the multiply, is it? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, 2, yeah. Whatever it is, you know what I mean. Yeah, multiply it, add it. Same thing, I think. But, so you have 2, 4, 8. So adding, I think. Yeah, adding. I don't know why that's tripping me up right now. 2, 4, 8, 16. Then you have 32. Then you have 64. Then you have 128. Then you have 200. What is it? Is it 200? 256. Then it's 512. Then 1024. Look at those numbers. Think about your phone, your mobile device. There was a time where, and you can still get phones with 32 gigs or flash drives, right? And then you can get a memory or phone for 64 gig, then 128, 256, 512, 124. When you subscribe to Dropbox, OneDrive, or maybe Google Storage, you get 1 terabyte, right? That's the 1024. And we call it memory. I hope you're following me. And if not, let me know. Post your questions and comments. Share what's coming up for you. And speaking of sharing what comes, share this. Share this, like it. We need to remember the ancestral wisdom that is in us, the ancestral memory. So, if you're buying a phone, what's the memory on the phone? 32, 64, 128, and it goes on and on and on. What has that got to do with the ancestors? Your ancestors, the ancestral realm, is a memory. It's a cloud where all information and wisdom and experiences and thoughts and ideas, behavior, all the energetic frequency of what your people lived is in the ancestral realm. So when you make a conscious awareness to connect with your ancestors, you're tapping into that memory. Your love becomes action. True love itself is action. So the action you take when you look back and think about your ancestors, some of them have done some things that if you know about it, or if you knew about it, you might say, I don't want nothing to do with them. I can't claim them as part of my ancestral lineage. I hear people say that. But think about it this way. Even if it's your father, even if it's your mother, your grandparents, however close they are to you, and they did things that you believe is unforgiving, think about it this way. When your phone is full, or even when it's not, the phone memory, depending on how you set up your phones, stores images and videos from WhatsApp, from Facebook, from Instagram. Some of those things is just what was shared with you that you looked at it and go, I don't see the joke in there. That's kind of funny. But you're not going to go back to it, but it's in the memory. So the act of love is to translate into action, is to go into your memory and delete that. You can go into, oh, I can't believe this image, this video is on my phone. That is so ridiculous. I can't stand the person who sent it to me. I don't even think it's funny. This doesn't make sense. That's called being extra. However, you can just delete it. Delete. Put in the trash and empty the trash. So when you redefine love, remembering that love connects you with all that is. Just as your phone is holding everything that's been shared with you, redefined love, mature love, taps you into the memory of those who came before you. And there are some things that was done that is still part of your vibration, unconsciously. However, when you become one with it all, your openness allows the power of it, if you will, to dissolve. When you resist it, you give it power. When you embrace it, you neutralize it. It becomes an experience. It's like eating food. When you embrace it, you take it in, and because of your frequency of acceptance, your vibration of acceptance, your state of mind of acceptance, whatever you allow in, if it doesn't match your frequency, it will be released. Just like food that you don't need. You'll eliminate it. Think about that. Questions, thoughts. That makes me think of my podcast, or even when I'm teaching, that's what I do. But I'm going to narrow it down a little bit. A love redefined, living from a place of mature love, where it's not just about, well, I'm only going to love people that I know, people that's close to me, people that are nice to me. Just allow love to connect you with everything, with all that is. Like in this moment, take a breath. Like for real, take a breath. And just allow your mind to relax. Release the idea of really understanding what I'm saying. Release the idea of saying, I don't get it. Just release that. Or maybe you do get it. Release that too. And just soften your eyes, your mind, your body as you take deep breaths. Wherever you are right now, allow yourself to think and feel and imagine that you're connected to everything around you. If you're lying in bed, it may be a little bit difficult because you might say, well, I'm one with the bed. If that doesn't work for you, think of your pet, think of your children, think of people that you love, and then you're going to extend it. It's a lot easier for me. I mean, I did it this morning at home, but it's even much more easier to do it here. So allow yourself to just be one with everything without even naming them, without even identifying with whether it's a bed, whether it's a chair, whether you're sitting in your car, whether you are, whatever you're doing, you're in your kitchen. You're just one with everything. Allow yourself to get cloudy, just not so focused. Just soften the edges. Feel the love of it. The love that is showing up as oneness. If you allow yourself to go there, you're experiencing oneness, which is love. Because love itself, true love, invites everything. True love knows that everything is an expression of itself. Everything comes from love. Everything comes from God. God is love. God is the divine. God is the great I am. God is the source of all life. That's what love is. So when you become one with everything, you're becoming one with everything. You're becoming one with the ancestral realm. And from this place, you give yourself permission to tap into the wisdom of those who came before you. New thought, new idea, access a way to deal with what you're dealing with. And breathe. And no matter how far back you can go as it relates to your ancestors, it really doesn't matter, because you're ready now. Right now, you're tapped into the cloud. You have access to the information, to the wisdom, to the insight, to the truth, to the love, to the compassion, to the healing, to the beauty of all that God is, that represented itself as those who came before you, and they passed that energy on to you. And you're representing them based on your own story, your own experience, the way you see life. We see that happening with young people of today, and sometimes I hear people say, well, the young people today that are born, they come knowing. They're here. They have clear understanding of what's going on in the world. They don't deal with racism. They don't have time for it. They don't even get it. They think everybody belongs. And sometimes we put them on a pedestal like they fell out of somewhere that is nowhere. But do we understand that the ones who came after us see the way that they see, feel the way they feel, know what they know, because we are part of the knowing and the seeing. We are clearing the path for them as they're clearing the path for those who are yet to come. It's all connected. You're passing life on. You're passing wisdom. You're passing the true understanding of love onto your children, your nieces and nephews, your cousins. And just because you don't have children doesn't mean it ends with you. The life that lived in your ancestors, that lives in you, it's not limited by physical form. So when you speak life into people, speak life, hello there. God came to visit. Dog is God spelled backwards. And I'm trying to also think, I can't remember, a dog represents loyal teacher, a loyal friend. But there's another thing that's coming up for me based on my people's tradition. But anyway, when you speak life into people, you're passing life on to them. When you encourage, when you inspire, when you hug, when you pray, you're passing your ancestors onto them, the wisdom of your ancestors. Redefining love is recognizing and remembering that you're one with everything. So even when it feels painful, even when it feels challenging, you can allow yourself, consciously take yourself into that place of oneness. And that thing that is bothering you, that is causing you pain or struggle, that trauma, you can allow it. You can give it space. You can release it from just your physical body and just watch it dissipate. Watch it. Watch it. Feel it. Imagine it going back into the all that is. This way of being, this way of thinking, connects you with the ancestral realm. and you get to represent your ancestors, their stories, and heal the past in the present. So, as you go about your day, as you go about your journey, remember to take a deep breath and redefine love. Step into the consciousness of mature love and know that even the people that piss you off are part of oneness. And when you are triggered, don't hold on to it. Allow it. Dilute it with the power, the vibration, the energy of the ancestral realm, the power, the presence of God consciousness, the power and presence of all that is. There are many ways to release trauma. One way is to just be with it. Depending on where you are, you may need an accountability partner. You may need a coach. You may need a counselor, a preacher. You may need a good friend. You might just come in nature. Ground yourself. Place your feet and send the trauma from your body back in. Release it. See, feel, imagine that the pain, the betrayal, the hurt, the brokenheartedness is moving from your head, moving through your body, and send it to the earth. The earth is waiting to recycle your trauma, to make it new, to make you new, to restore you. Whether it's a health challenge, send it back into the earth. Allow your ancestors, those who were healers, wisdom keepers, teachers, lovers, creatives, geniuses, allow them to just take it from you. When you step into the consciousness of mature love, you will really know that your life is a spiritual practice. You're made to love. You're made from love. You are made through love. You are love. You are one with the one. You're part of it all of it. And if you can't take that on, it just might be because there's a judgment about part of the it's. I'm not part of that. It's fine, you can do that. But to set yourself free from the BS in the world, the bullshit, if you really want to be the shift to the bullshit that's going on in your life, redefine how you see love. Recognize that you're part of it all. And as you allow yourself to be part of the one, you're part of your ancestors. You tap into the ancestral realm. You tap into God. You tap into Muhammad. You tap into Buddha. You tap into Jesus. The spirit, not the physical. The spirit. You tap into what they tapped into. You tap into the Mandelas of the world. You tap into your inner being. You tap into your guides. You tap into your ancestors. You tap into your angels. Thank you for spending this time with me. May you understand, fully understand, embrace, and allow love to be expressed through and as you. May this open you up to so much more. May this break down the things, the thoughts, the energy that you've been struggling with. May it dissolve it. That without even knowing why, you can think clearly, you can see clearly, you feel differently. May you willingly surrender to your greater yet to be. And so it is. And so it shall be. Amen. Ashe. 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 It is done. It is done. It is done. You are the one you're looking for. And you're surrounded by greatness, new life. You're surrounded by all that came before you. All those who came before you are with you. There's so much more going on in the invisible realm than the visible realm. Trust it. Let it be. Peace and blessings.